My name is Mohammad Sobri Saad. I come originally from Alustar, Kedah, but last 35 years I've been living in Kuala Lumpur. I'm from Malaysia. I'm a CEO of a public listed company, which is an IT company in Malaysia. And the company is listed on Bursa Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange. I've been flying since 1995. So 25 years, but because I fly as a hobby, so I don't clock a lot of hours. So I think I have now about 400, slightly more than 400 flying hours for the past 25 years. We are in the final phase of the lockdown. We go by phases. I think this is the last phase, from 10th of June until 31st of August. A lot of industries has opened up, but we have to strictly follow the SOP enforced by the government of Malaysia. So we are still technically in lockdown, but you are free to move about. You can't travel outside the country. Certain industry, I think all industries has been opened up. This was during the first Vietnamese balloon fiesta in Pantit. Pantit is a resort about 200 kilometers east of Ho Chi Minh. It was a morning flight, very windy. The wind started to change direction. The later you took off, the wind changed towards the ocean. And I think I was the second last to take off. With me, I had two other passengers. One is a senior executive with Vietnam Airlines, and the other chap was a professional photographer, and he took all the lovely photos, And it was so windy. The moment I took off, I shoot off like a rocket, And by the time I realized, I was just over the sea already. I thought to myself, what should I do? I think I was about more than 1 kilometer, probably 2 kilometers in the sea. The first question I asked the passengers, can you swim? The two others said, yeah, they can swim very well, but I'm not a good swimmer. I was thinking about three options. Number one is, at the end of the bay, there is a small, it's like a peninsula. So I thought if I could steer the balloon towards that, peninsula, if I could reach there, I could safely land the balloon. But as I went into the sea, the direction changed towards the right, which is towards the big ocean, So my first plan failed. And then I could see some small fishing boats, Probably what I could do is I could, drop a line, go towards the fishing boat, and then probably they could tow my balloon back to the land. But the fishing boat are really, really small, So I decided to fly higher and higher. One day before, I overheard Mr. Lado from Ultra Magic. He was saying that probably if we could, if we were to go into the sea, if we, fly higher, the wind will bring us back to the land. So that was the option I took, the final option. So I climbed from 500 feet to 1,000 feet to 1,500 feet, to 2,000 feet. And finally, when I reached 2,500 feet, it was a 30-kilometer wind that brought me back to the land within 10 minutes. The flight probably was 45 minutes, Of course, I had to, move inland a bit, so that if I come down again, it will bring me back to into the sea. So I decided to go for about 1 kilometer inside, and then came down, and then I landed just by the hill. I never thought about it, you know. My thought was, how could I steer the balloon back to the land and landed safely, that's all. The second flight was during the test flight for the Penang balloon tester. I think it was in February 2015. The organizer wanted to take off from Padang Polo. It is a bit difficult because number one, the Padang Polo is not that far from the sea, but the direction is a bad direction, because when we released the helium balloon, it was towards the city center. You know, I mean, city center, there's absolutely no place for us to land. I said, okay, you know, we can try. So we took off. And we took off from Padang Polo towards the city center, towards the Royal Cholan Hotel, you know. And the moment I took off, I said, I don't see any open space. I couldn't, because number one, because we cannot fly very high. If you fly low, you cannot see very much. So the moment I saw a big enough area for me to land, I decided to take that option. And it was on top of a building. It was a car park, multi-story car park. Luckily, it was a Sunday morning, so there's no car on the car park. Luckily also, it was very calm, so I managed to safely landed my balloon on top of the roof of a car park, you know. Of course, the photographer was a bit scared, you know. There was no wind, it was a calm landing. But because there was no access, the car cannot reach to the top floor, because the car park Sunday was locked. You know, it was locked. They didn't lock the lift, so we managed to put the balloon in the lift and come down to the ground floor. Yeah, I was lucky because I was in that direction. If I miss it, I don't know. You know, probably have to cross the sea again. You know. Yeah. Flying makes the world smaller. Flying balloon especially. Flying in a new area, new places, new country, you get to know the food, the people, the culture, the history, become friends with a lot of people. You go anywhere, you have friends, and they become very close to you. You know, you become families, you know.